Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Tuesday Talk, or maybe I should say this year's Tuesday Talk. For those of you keeping track, it's the first week of May, and this is my first Tuesday Talk of the year. I can't believe it. Last year, I did a Tuesday Talk, I think every week for the whole year. So why is that? What's going on? I kind of feel like I probably should explain, not only why haven't I done any Tuesday Talks, but why now today all of a sudden. So a couple reasons a couple things are going on. For those of you who follow my live streams or in my private Zoom, those are venues where I tend to share a little bit more about my personal life. And many of you know that I have given notice at my work, and it is taking a long time. It's also not the first time I've given notice. This is my second time I've given notice. And I know many of you are thinking, well, why is this such a problem? Don't you just, give your 2 weeks notice and then you're done? It's a lot more complicated than that. It's, long-term relationships are at play, extenuating circumstances are at play. I can't really get into them, but just all I can do is say it's very complicated, but there is an end in sight. So part of the issue with giving notice is, of course, I'm having to train other people to do things that I've taken care of for 30 years at the company. And that is not easy either. And it's pretty much doubled my workload, because I'm having to do it. I'm having to show other people how to do it. These things all take time. So that's my reason why I've been feeling just a little overwhelmed, a little more stressed, and so something had to give. And it unfortunately was the Tuesday Talk. But even my videos, even my long form videos, last month in April, I only did 2 long videos, and that's hard because I love doing, those are my favorite ones to do. I have been trying to keep up with the live streams, and I do have somebody who is taking the videos, and her name's Christy. Thank you, Christy. She's cutting them up into shorts for me because it's just impossible for me to do anything. So I figured, well, at least, some shorts so people don't forget who I am. So why all of a sudden did I decide to do a Tuesday Talk? Well, 2 reasons. One, I was at a retreat and I feel like I have, some things I want to share about the retreat. And while I was at the retreat, I did get to talk to Kelly Hogan. She was there. Many of you know that I am in her weekly coaching group. It's something that I really enjoy being a part of. For those of you who have ever tried her groups, you probably agree that she shares so much. It's all backed by, she has studies. She has, 13 years of experience doing this. I value her input so much, and it's never the same every month. It's part of my tribe. And this is kind of what I want to talk about today, is the importance of having this connection with other people who are walking the same path as you, doing the same things as you. At the retreat, Kelly said to me, "Anita, I love your Tuesday Talks. I miss your Tuesday Talks." I was just floored. I didn't show it externally, but inside I was like, Kelly has watched my Tuesday Talks. Kelly appreciates my Tuesday Talks. That meant so much to me. And I just knew, even though, being at the retreat, I kind of knew I wanted to do one. That just made it even more compelling for me to do a Tuesday Talk. So, Kelly, if you are watching this one, I appreciate that you said that. I really honestly do, because I actually do enjoy doing the Tuesday Talks. And, it was just one of those things that I needed to hear that from somebody like you. I want to just say one more thing about Kelly. Kelly took the time to show me how to, on my phone, make an Instagram story. So that's another thing that fell by the wayside. I made an Instagram account when I first started my YouTube channel. I, did some postings. I did a little bit here and there, but I didn't really understand it. I'm very bad at most social media. YouTube, I seem to have mastered. For those of you who don't know, because it's been so long since I posted, I did recently earn my silver play button plaque. I'll show you a picture of that on the screen. I haven't even had time to kind of put that out there other than on one of my live streams, but I thought I at least owed you guys a picture of me holding the plaque that you helped me earn. So there's that. But she took the time to sit down and show me how to make an Instagram story. So she showed me how to do it on my phone. She did a couple of them with me, and then she watched me do one. Thank you, Kelly. I now know how to do Instagram stories. You guys out there on Instagram, I'll put the link below for those of you that are on Instagram. And this is no pressure to go on Instagram, because goodness knows, I'm still kind of a newbie at it myself. But I was just so happy to be able to feel like not such a klutz and to actually put out some posts. So stories, I should say. There's a difference between posts and stories. Thank you for all that, Kelly. So here I am. It's Tuesday Talk. I have just been on the most amazing retreat. It was an amazing experience. I have some great takeaways that I've learned from that. I'll post, this is going to be out on Tuesday, and by then I'll have done my Sunday live stream, which I'm trying to, show some pictures and different things like that. I'm going to post the link to that below so you can actually see some really good pictures and get some more information about, the retreat and how it went. But I had a great time, and there was some amazing people there. And I think what I really appreciated about the retreat is that the guests that they brought in were so, not only did they provide a good talk or informational session, but then an hour later, they were sitting having a meal with you, and they were interacting in the kitchen or in the common room or outside on the balcony. It was like, they came and they gave their information, but then they were there for you in more ways than one. People like Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Robert Kiltz, Michelle Hearn, Dr. Kelly Ritter, Sally Norton. I just loved getting all this information. Hopefully, I'm sure I have forgotten somebody, but that's just off the top of my head. Some of the takeaways that I want to talk about today is how important it is to have a tribe, to meet people face to face. Now, I know that not everybody can jump on a plane and fly across the country. It took me 3 airplane connections to get there. It was kind of expensive to get there. Everything's converted, from US dollars into Canadian dollars, and you take quite a hit there. I am so grateful that I'm at a point in my life where I can do that sort of thing. Not only, it's a financial thing, but, like I was saying to the people in my Zoom, I rarely buy clothing. I don't buy jewelry. I don't go to restaurants. I don't drink. I don't spend my money on anything except for meat and kitchen gadgets. I do have kind of a thing for kitchen gadgets. I'm sure many of you know. And things like this, opportunities like this. Because I spend very little on the small things, I sometimes I'm able to do a big thing like that. And it really was a big thing. But it's not just financially a big thing. Physically, there was a time a few years ago, I would not have been able to get on an airplane. I had anxiety about getting on an airplane, mostly because I always had to request an extender. When you're 320 pounds plus, the airplane seatbelt doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. And I know I have seen some larger people on the plane that kind of tuck it under, but I carry my weight all down low. And so, I mean, I would have to tuck it across my neck in order for it to fit. And that doesn't work on the airplane. It has to go low. And, I physically was unfit for flying. And God help the people beside me if I was in the middle seat, because they just did not probably have room to breathe. And there was a couple of times that I did have to fly at a high weight, and boy, it's no picnic. And even just walking up those, you do a lot of walking at the airport. I'm sure I got, several thousand steps just from all the airports I was in and out of, and having to walk here and there to make those connections. I never would have been able to make 3 connections in a day, weighing what I weighed. I mean, so the freedom to be able to, get on these airplanes, travel, not feel uncomfortable about, am I going to encroach on the next person's room? Like those things just caused me so much stress in the past. And I was able to do that. And what a blessing that was. I think I started talking about having a tribe. That is one of the biggest takeaways, because being face to face with people is so important. And you don't have to fly across the country to do that. You can do that at local meetups. One of the really cool things that I did a couple of years ago, and thankfully somebody started this group, but if there isn't a group like this, you can start one too. So this couple that lives near me, Esther and Nathaniel, they are in British Columbia. They live here on Vancouver Island. They started the BC Carnivores group on Facebook. I joined. They organize meetups, and I think some people in the group also organize meetups on their own as well, because once you connect with other people, you can figure out who's in your area and start a meetup. There's a lady in my Facebook group who just randomly posted that she wanted to have a meetup, said her town, and then she met up with somebody, even if it's one person. So as a result of being in the BC group, I have met up outside of the meetups. I've just met for coffee with a couple of ladies here that live in my area. It is so fantastic to do that. We've gone for coffee, just talked, had a conversation. That is so important. It's so important to meet with people who are walking the same path as you, and who eat like you and understand what it is. And to be with a whole room full of people was fantastic, because I wasn't the weird one in the room. It is priceless to not be the weird one in the room, where everybody is eating the same thing and not batting an eye. And I just want to say too that, not everybody there was, the meat, water, salt. Yes, some people do meat, water, salt. And that, that is fantastic. But there was veggies there too, and there was fruit. And some people do have meat, water, salt, some fruit, some veggies, honey even. I mean, all those things were available to everybody, so that no matter what proper human diet path you're on, you could eat there. And some people even, who are on hyper restrictive diets because they have a severe autoimmune. There was one young woman who brought her own. She brought offals, like I'm not saying awful. She brought lamb's brain and testicles and different things like that. I tried both those things, by the way, and I'm still here to talk about it. I'll have her picture up there and her contact details below. I met people there that I didn't know who, they were just other people in the community. It's not like there's an impression that everybody that was there was some kind of influencer. Not the case at all. There was a few, but mostly it was, everyday people that just are trying to walk this path and, hear what the doctors have to say. I mean, that's why I went. I wanted to hear what people have to say. I wanted to make face-to-face connections. I'm old school. Face-to-face connections is what I grew up on. It's what I feel most comfortable with. It's what I enjoy. And so for me, it was just such an opportunity. If you're somebody who can't get out, you can't meet people, then join something where they have Zoom meetings, because that is good too. You're looking at someone else's face, you're talking back and forth. That is also a social interaction. If you're just reading a book or just watching videos, that is great, and I encourage that as well. But to be talking to people, to be laughing with them, because on the Zoom meetings, we have so much fun, and other people's Zoom meetings that I have joined, we have so much fun. There is laughter that goes on. There is learning from other people. It is just amazing to be a part of that. So that is one of my big takeaways. The other takeaway, and I'm going to be looking into this more and talking about this more as time goes on, because I'm kind of a newbie at this. We had a farm tour, regenerative farming. Now, somewhere along the way in the world, as I was growing up, I spent time in the summertime on all of my aunts' farms. They all had farms in Alberta. They practiced regenerative farming, only back then it wasn't called that. And I thought that was how everybody did it. It wasn't until I went to this presentation at the Lick Skillet Farms. I'll link that below as well. The guy there who owns that farm, it's a century farm. It's been in his family for, I think they said 7 or 8 generations. He had a very good presentation on what regenerative farming is and how it compares these days to your commercial farming. And I have to say, I was a little shocked and a little blown away by the difference. I don't think I really understood that, because in my mind, well, doesn't everybody farm like this? I had the memories of my relatives and their farms. And so for me, it was, that's the choice I'm making when I shop and buy, the big brand type of items instead of seeking out my local farms in the area. So this is something that, I will have to look at and see how that can fit into my life and how I can support those small farmers who are trying to make a difference and trying to provide that kind of quality product to the market. And, I will never judge anybody who still, and that'll be me too. Like, I'm not going to be able to, if I run out of bacon or run out of eggs, or run out of, meat, it's not something you can't just run out to your local regenerative farmer unless you happen to live next door to them. It's something you need some planning, you need some budgeting, that kind of thing. So, just want to make that clear. I am not dissing people who are buying what they can afford, because sometimes there are people out there who have to choose between food or their prescriptions, or food and their rent. That is going to be the case for many people, and do what you need to do by all means. But it is something that I feel motivated to look into. So I know that this is probably going on longer than I had already wanted to. So I just wanted to say, At the retreat, I noticed a few commonalities amongst the long-time people who have been practicing the proper human diet, the long-time carnivores. And I want to pass some of these things along because they were helpful to me, and maybe they are helpful to you as well. So I'll end this by saying that, many of them were 10 years and more, and I really appreciate just spending the time with them and observing. They eat meat. They care about the meat that they eat and the quality. And they don't all just eat meat. Some eat a little veg, a little fruit, a little honey. They don't judge other people for what choices they make and how they, what their eating program is. They are not keto or carnivore police whatsoever. They are kind and generous people. And that is the overwhelming feeling that I got. I also learned that from them, these are things that I kind of already, had these inklings going on in my head. And the more you get out, the more you listen to other people, the more you meet with people, there are things that just come home, and that is that it's not all about the food you're putting in your mouth. These people that are long-term following this way of life and this way of eating, they move their bodies. They get out, they make exercise of some kind of priority. Doesn't mean it has to be in a gym, a formal program. Even in the rain, those people were going out, moving themselves, doing little exercises outside. We did have bears in the area, so that kind of factored into things. I was able to go for a couple of walks, and that was fantastic. It was such a beautiful area. They care about proper sleep hygiene. They get up to greet the sun in the morning, and boy, did we have a beautiful sunrise to greet every morning there. It was just fantastic. So these people care about things more than just, what food am I putting in my mouth today? It was all about other practices and other habits. They meditate. They, some pray, some meditate, some do other things, journaling and writing. Like, they all have these different ways of approaching just a more holistic lifestyle of, what this can be about. The people that ran the retreat, I was not aware of what kind of programs they were offering. Mind retraining, how to stimulate your vagus nerve, just, breathing, meditating. It's all linked together. And I just felt motivated to share with you that I never heard I don't think anyone mentioned macros. The whole 5 days I was there, nobody talked about macros. And, I think it's something to think about getting caught up in the weeds of, how many ounces of this and how much percentage of that. I really like the idea of, eat the proper human diet. That might look a little different from me than it does for you. Get out there and enjoy nature and all that life has to offer. Interact socially with other people. Learn as much as you can from other people. And don't take everything that each person says, because sometimes they all say different things. Don't worry so much about that. Just, as Coach Bronson says, principles before protocols. I just love it. It's one of my favorite sayings. And I hope that some of this has helped you have some fun, laugh. If you can laugh. There are things out there. I love laughing. I love talking with people. Don't judge others. I just, whatever works for you, keep doing what you're doing. If it works for you, don't worry about what this influencer says or that influencer. Don't worry about anything I say. Anyways, that is all I want to share with you. I'm so happy to be back. I'm thrilled to be doing this Tuesday talk today. I'm not promising a Tuesday talk every Tuesday, but if I can do 1 or 2 a month, to get me over the hump of the other stuff I'm going through, I will do my best to do that. So thanks for listening this far, and see you guys next time.